Meet the Matzah, a Passover story by Alan Silberberg. And Alan Silberberg is the author and the illustrator. Last year, he wrote a really funny book called Meet the Latkas. I don't know if any of you remember that one. I think you're going to enjoy this very much. And I also know that you're going to have an opportunity to meet Alan Silberberg next week. All right, here we go. Meet the matzah. He's just like you, except he's bread, unleavened bread. No yeast for this guy. That's Alfie Kohman. He likes lots of things. He likes to go to the movies. He likes his braided best friend, Hallelujah. And Alfie Kohman really likes to hide. It's time for Mrs. Crust's class. Today, the students are telling stories about their favorite holidays. Wonderful, says Mrs. Crust. Diwali is the Hindu festival of lights. Nancy's story is about the festival of Diwali. Dia de los Muertos is a holiday to remember people who died. Cornelius Tortilla's story tells how his whole tortilla family celebrates the Mexican Day of the Dead. And this guy's saying, so bored. And my story is all about my birthday, shouts Bernie Toast. Mrs. Crust checks her list. Our final story is about the Jewish holiday of Passover. Mrs. Crust scans the classroom. Where is Alfie Kohman? Hiding, everyone says. All the students respond. Alfie Kohman, Mrs. Crust calls out with her arms crisscrossed. How many times have I told you no hiding in class? Sorry, Mrs. Crust, and there he is hiding between two books. Well, you know, the Alfie Kohman hides. There he is. Chala helps Alfie wiggle out of his hiding spot between the dictionary and the thesaurus. Plop. Thank you, Alfie, Mrs. Crust smiles. We're all excited to hear your Passover story. I'm not. Loaf, the school sourdough, groans. Alfie's stories are always so boring. Well, that's mean, says Cornelius. Yeah, Loaf, the twins Bun and Bun agree, not nice. Loaf, Mrs. Crust says gently, perhaps there's a more helpful way you can express yourself. Helpful? Asked Loaf. Great idea, Mrs. Crust. And Loaf jumps up from his desk and rushes to the front of the classroom. I'll help Alfie make his story better. Alfie freezes. He looks for a new hiding spot. Gulp. Don't worry, Chala whispers, you've got this. But all Alfie's really got is a stomachache. The story of Passover, Alfie begins in a soft, nervous whisper, by Alfie Kohman and Loaf. Alfie starts his story. A long time ago in ancient Egypt, there was a ruthless ruler who enslaved all of the Hebrews. This ruler was evil and wicked, Loaf jumps in, and he had sharp, pointy teeth and 6 really creepy pincer arms. What? Loaf goes on, louder! And this giant's icky ruler's name was Faroach. The students are stunned. Huh? Cool. A roach, like a cockroach? Not a Faroach, Alfie corrects Loaf. A Pharaoh. He was called Pharaoh. You think you made a mistake, Loaf. But the whole class and even Mrs. Crust is on the edge of their seats. Keep going, Bernie Toast begs. A huge cockroach tyrant? This Passover story is wild. See, Loaf chuckles, not boring. Not true either, says Alfie as he goes back to telling the real story. And so the Pharaoh, Faroach, Faroach, Faroach. Fine, Alfie sighs. The Faroach made the Hebrew people do all the hard work. They built his pyramids and they dug him a crazy swimming pool with a twisty water slide, shouts Loaf. They harvested his crops. Stop him, Alfie. Wait, Loaf. A hand goes up, actually 2 hands. Bun and Bun have the same question. But why would the Faroach make them do all that? I'll tell you why. Because I said so. The Faroach is mean and bossy, and his swimming pool is creepy. Yeah, he's got a crocodile in there. Alfie, says Chala, Loaf is ruining your Passover story. Do something. I am, says Alfie. I'm hiding. Chala grabs Alfie's arm. You can't just hide every time you feel bad. I know. Alfie lets out a deep sigh. But I worked so hard on my story and Loaf took over. Oh, that's what bullies do. Hey, Alfie, Loaf orders, hit the lights. Alfie is confused, but why? Because I said so, Loaf shouts, leaping on top of Mrs. Crust's desk. Suddenly, a huge letter M shines onto the wall. Loaf's voice booms through the dark classroom. The Hebrews needed help, and so the call went out for the one, the only superhero in sandals, Mighty Moses. No, yes, oi! Using all his superpowers, Mighty Moses zipped and zapped and zoomed into the Far Roach's palace. Let my people go, zip, zap, zoom, or else. Or else what? The Far Roach cackled. Or else, Mighty Moses roared, 10 terrible plagues will descend on you and your people. At least Loaf got the 10 plagues part right, whispers Challah. I sure hope so, Alfie says. So, did the Far Roach let the Hebrew slaves go? Everyone asks. No way, Loaf shouts. So Mighty Moses unleashed the 10 plagues. Number 1, no Wi-Fi. Number 2, early bedtime. Number 3, birthday clowns. I hate clowns. Number 4, pimples. Number 5, broccoli for dessert. Number 6, nightmares. Number 7, bad haircuts. Number 8, slug soup. Number 9, bagpipes. Number 10, indoor recess forever. Those aren't the Passover plagues. Well, then do something. Let my story go. Everyone gets quiet, even Loaf. Listen up, Alfie faces his stunned class. This is the real Passover story. First, there was no giant cockroach. The tyrant was a terrible man called the Pharaoh. And Moses wasn't a superhero. Wait, I can't fly, he says. But he was a hero who spoke up to the Pharaoh and led the Hebrews from slavery to freedom. How? Mrs. Crust wonders. How? Bernie Toast asks. Yeah, Alfie, even Loaf wants to know the rest of the real story. How did they get free? So Alfie continues. Moses warned the Pharaoh that if he didn't free the Hebrews, his kingdom would suffer. Did the Pharaoh listen? Frogs, bugs, disease? No way! But after the 10 plagues destroyed all of the crops and livestock and made the Pharaoh's people sick or worse. Get out, he said. I told you, the Hebrews were finally able to flee. Alfie explains the Hebrews were in such a rush they didn't have time to let their bread dough rise. The flat, unleavened bread they ate on their exodus from Egypt was matzah. This way, says Moses. The arrow pointing to the Red Sea. But it didn't take long for the Pharaoh to change his mind and send his army to catch them. On second thought, he says, catch them! The Hebrews seemed trapped on the edge of the Red Sea. Well, at least we won't be hungry. Moses prayed for help, and a miracle occurred. The Red Sea parted, and the Hebrew people crossed without harm. And the Pharaoh story, they chased after the Hebrews, but the Red Sea closed and swallowed them up. Whoa, the whole class agrees. The Passover story is epic. And true, Alfie adds with a smile. Loaf shuffles his feet. He needs to tell Alfie something. Look, I'm really sorry I messed up your story. I got all bossy and loud, kind of like the Pharaoh. And he was just a big, mean. He was not a cockroach, screams Alfie. Loaf smiles. I was going to say a big, mean bully. Did you really like the Passover story, Loaf? You bet, Loaf shouts. I'd do anything to hear it again. Me too, says Challah. Great, you're both invited to my family Seder. Challah interrupts. But Alfie, you aren't supposed to have bread at Passover. No problem, Alfie chuckles. But remember, you both said you'd do anything. Year after year, the story of how the Hebrews escaped to freedom is told at every Passover Seder all over the world. But why is this Passover Seder different from all other Passover Seders? Because tonight, Alfie Komen is not hiding. Tonight, he is sitting next to a brand new friend, Dayenu. What a story, says Loaf, reading from his Haggadah. I know, Alfie whispers. Wait until you hear about Purim. And I would guess that Alan Silverberg's next story might be something about Purim. Well, I hope you like that. think about questions you might have for the author, and I'll see you next week when we all meet Alan Silberberg.